That was a funny broadcast.
Yeah. All right, we're
Tony,
live.
what's he doing now?
Tony, let me check on Tony. I did message him. I was like, dude, I'm going live. And let me see. It said he's been away for 16 hours. But like let me
Oh.
check his message. He told me something insane. Like how long he had been up. He said I
Yeah, he
slept for
doesn't
about
sleep except when he's tired, right?
4 hours and 3 days. That's hilarious. Yeah, that's what he told me one time. He's like, yeah, he's just no schedule. When he gets tired, he goes down. So yeah, we're
Well,
live,
I love
man.
that.
So okay, we got Ryan here too. Hey, Ryan, what's up, man?
Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah,
All right.
you got him, Anger Worm. All right, so both of you guys should introduce yourselves since you're known in Discord probably to some extent, but otherwise no one knows who the hell you are. So why don't you go ahead, Anger Worm? Start with you.
Hey, I'm Angerworm. My name is Jarrett, and sorcery player.
Sorcery player. What about you're not a collector or a filthy investor speculator?
I guess I'm everything all at once, right? Because where it goes. But yeah, I'm definitely
Yeah.
a collector because I think the cards are meant to be cherished, and I've been doing the play test because I kind of wanted the game, like I wanted to play the game, and I wanted to see how good the game was
Oop.
before I let my heart fall. And I think the game is really good. I'm enjoying myself a lot.
Yeah, yeah, we'll get into that about what you think about gameplay. All right, what's up, Ryan? What's your background? Oh,
Um,
there you go. You're off mute.
no, kind of big, dead art collector. Got a little bit
You're breaking up a little. Do you hear him all right, Garrett?
No, he's breaking up for me.
Yeah, you're breaking up, man. Uh oh.
not
Try
so bad.
again. Yeah,
Let me switch networks here. Maybe that'll help.
yeah,
Give me one.
yeah. Your audio's choppy.
It's Jarrett, by the way, just so you know.
Oh, I just pronounced it with a hard G. That's all. You spell with a G, right? Or do you spell with a J? I always
Jay.
forget.
Jay.
Ah, okay. There you go.
Yeah,
I had a G in my mind.
that's all right.
Yeah, Joe McAllister says no audio. I think I don't know. Ryan might be connecting to Wi-Fi. There we go.
That any better?
Yeah.
Yes.
So my name is Ryan. I am at Internet Arts on the on Discord, and I'm kind of a big dead TCG collector. Got into sorcery when Rudy went out and put some long right. I yeah,
You're coming in and out, man. I think we lost you again. Are you on Wi-Fi or?
yeah. I switched over to Wi-Fi. Let me move.
Yeah, your audio is a little quiet too. But yeah, Dave
Too
Sheedy
many
says you're on
cards.
Walmart Wi-Fi is what he says. You could buy Wi-Fi at Walmart. See, look, when you're on Facebook, it says Facebook user. So I got like a second screen up here with the Facebook, so I know who's commenting over here. All right, you're back, making the rounds around the house.
Yeah, fine. Any better?
Yeah, that's a little better so far.
Can you get up on your roof?
Uh, Down here in rural Virginia, it's very.
Yeah, it's still kind of like in and out, man. It's choppy.
All right, let me try something else. If I cut out, just keep going, and I'll jump back in.
All right, I'll talk to Jared in the meantime. Yeah, so he's got his Discord name there, Angerworm, but his real name's Jared. This is a big reveal of the real name. So, dude, you've been playing the game hard, right? You said you're into like you've been playing since 1994. We were talking before we went live. From like, was
Yeah.
Magic your first game? I guess in 1994 had to be, right?
Yeah. So when I was little, I would collect the Marvel cards.
Oh,
They had like chase cards, foils, and all that kind of thing. And I never knew there were, other than traditional card games, I never knew there were card games, and there weren't. So Magic came out,
yeah.
and I was like immediately intrigued. You know, I was into
Hmm.
fantasy. I wasn't as into it as I became through those years, and I think Magic kind of like is like a two-way street where it kind of drew me into nerddom more away from like the comic book stuff. And yeah, so I started playing Magic then. I was playing in junior high school. It's actually like one of my closest friends. We got into it together, and we used to play in the lunchroom, and we just play with like stacks of decks of all of our cards of one color, because all there was revised. And then like the dark was out too, and we started buying that, and
nice,
like Forbidden, right? Because it's a
yeah. I don't know. I don't really remember that. Huh?
It makes little kids feel like a little like it's forbidden, right?
Yeah. I hear the talk of that now, but like when I played as a kid, like I was guess fairly young, but I never. Maybe my parents were just liberal about it or something, but I never heard like that controversy over like the card names and the art, some of the art and stuff like that until recent years, really. So it's funny.
Yeah, well, it wasn't overt where I was either. I mean, we weren't religious. I grew up in Brooklyn, so it's pretty just inherently liberal. But there's still stuff like there's burning pentagrams, and there's something.
Oh, now you broke up. Did he freeze up? You're on mute, Ryan. I'm hearing nothing. Are you guys still talking?
Can you hear me at all?
Yeah, now I could hear you. Do you hear Anger Worm? This is a disaster. This is what happens when you go live. Nothing works.
No, I don't think.
Oh, he's coming back. I don't know if it's my internet lagging or what. Go ahead, talk, Jared. Are you back? Maybe he's messing around with his settings. No one hears anything. Do you hear me, Sorcery TCG UK? Seeing if someone could confirm.
I can.
You can't hear? You can hear? I can't hear what you're saying. Someone's got to confirm in chat. Yeah. Am I muted? Uh-oh. All right, we lost Jarrett. All right, I'm good. All right, Ryan.
Am I it now?
Yeah. All right, they hear me. I don't know what's going on your guys' end. Maybe I just got a shitty laggy connection. I don't know if it's me or you. But yeah, so you've seen a lot of games come and go, huh? Have you played Sorcery yet, or are you waiting for the physical cards?
Go out and pull it.
Shit, man, you're choppy as hell again. I don't know. Are other people hearing the chop?
Right.
Yeah, it's too bad. I don't know. It's coming in choppy. Angerworm's back. All right, Ryan, try to talk. Let's see if anyone can hear you. It's a mess. Are you talking, Ryan? Yeah, we're not really hearing you, man. We'll try. Call us. Yeah, you'll have to call us another time. All right, man. It's all on you now. You got to carry the show.
I got you, buddy.
So you've been playing the game like a fiend, right? Did you play in the leagues, the recent leagues?
Yeah, I played in both leagues. I was doing the play testing. I mean, I'm not as like they're echelons of players, and I'm probably somewhere in the middle, but
okay,
been playing a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, so mostly tabletop simulator.
Yeah,
or like all tabletop simulator. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, you can't play in the physical. There are a couple local guys though. We live fairly close, and you got Mike Pelly's in the neighborhood.
I mean, I know a guy who opened a box on video and has pre-cons, so I guess I could be playing in person, but
that's right. I gave away some of my cards from the fire deck because like everyone says that deck sucks. It's not competitive, you know.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Is that true? Because I have the Avatar of Fire painting, so I'm hoping that becomes legit someday.
Well, unfortunately, I think the Avatar of Fire is not a very viable avatar in constructed play, but I think the precons are much closer together, right? Like it's not balanced, but if you're just learning the game, you can have fun with any of the precons.
Gotcha.
And her ability works much better in that setting. It's just an inefficient ability because it costs her too much to do what she wants to do.
Well, it says I'm looking at it here. It's tap, play, or draw a site,
Yeah.
Or is it either or you tap it this turn, fire sights in your hand are also fireballs?
Yeah. And the
So,
problem is that fireball is a projectile, so it can only go in one direction. So one of the issues she has to tap to turn the sight into a fireball, and that means she can't tap to move one over, up, down, left, or right. So she has a little trouble lining up balls. So in the precons, it's a little more static. There's a little less going on. In construct, you just have to do too much to get her ability to work consistently. And if you're playing with multiple elements, then now you want to draw fire sights to turn them into fireballs, but now you have other sights that aren't fire sights. So now when you draw a sight and you need a fireball, maybe you're not drawing the fire sight you need. It's just a very like clunky mechanic. But for the precons, awesome anyway. So
yeah, it's just to learn to play the game, so it makes sense. So this turn, fire sights in your hand are also fireballs. So basically, you're sacrificing the normal use case of the sight card to use it as a fireball.
Exactly. Yeah, it just turns like your fire sight and drawing sights and playing sights is your resource mechanic. So now you're putting more pressure on your need to not only get out resources, but you're putting pressure on your ability to draw resources. And because she's tapping to turn them into fireballs, she's now not tapping to draw, right? And you only get one draw at the beginning of your turn. So now you're choosing what you're going to do, right? Like normally you get your one card, either a spell or a sight. And in this case, now your spell or sight is all you're going to get because now you're tapping her to turn into fireballs. So just awkward.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Doesn't work.
So if they kept that card, they could have changed it. But yeah, I can see like it's almost like a discard. If you're compromising a sight, then you lose like the perpetual value of having that sight in play. So sounds like a disaster all around. Wasn't there feedback on that during like playtesting? I'm surprised that survived in that form. Yeah,
it used to be a lot better. It used to be too good. Who was casting? I'm trying to remember. I think it was it's definitely artwork. The one damage spell. It's not coming to mind because I'm so hungover. But yeah, it used to be much. It used to be much better, and then they had to kind of peel it back, and then they turned it into fireballs. And the other problem is actually pay for the fireball, which is a 4-mana spell. So it's all a little awkward. Like because it's a fireball, you can't usually do two things in the same turn with it.
Let's see.
I think it's Firebolts is the other one. I should get out Curious just so I have reference.
Yeah. I'm gonna get the overhead cam going. I'll show the card.
Yeah, Firebolts. I'm right.
So you got.
I think it used to be Fire.
So it's not even free to play. You got to pay the casting cost as well.
Yeah.
And the tap. That's brutal. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and you compare it to things like just the Sorcerer would be the baseline comparison. And he's giving you not only at the start of turn do you get to draw a sight or a spell, but then you add to draw another spell. So it's a very efficient way to use him, or you can tap him to draw a sight. So he's super flexible, whatever you need, and you're getting 2 cards a turn. In this case, it's like anti-draw because you're picking your sight or your spell to draw at the beginning of the turn, and then you're turning your sight into a spell and casting it, which then puts you behind a sight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, that's messy. All right, hang on a second.
But it's fine for the precons. And the new precons will probably be even better. So it's going to be perfectly viable for people to learn on, which is the important part for this first phase.
Gotcha.
Like, I don't want to go around bashing the precon avatar too much because, at that time it felt like there was a lot of things finalized, and you're always going to have stuff through and is a little off in your first iteration, especially on such a small scale. Like their team was like 4 guys or something. So,
all right, we got an overhead cam. Yeah, I got. So, are you guys still hearing audio? Okay, I get echo when I do audio cam with a guest. You know what? I could probably play with that. Are you hearing any echo, Jarrett?
I am not.
Okay. So it's just me. That means I got to mess with probably my audio feedback or something. Try that. Yeah. No, it's worse. How's that? No, I got echo. I don't know, man. I gotta figure out how to StreamYard works. All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. That seems to be the one. Okay. So yeah, let me show the card then, and let's see. We could do it probably like some kind of layout here. There we go, and then do this. Boom. All right. So we got the fire deck. Get the keyboard out of here. Zoom in a little bit. Yeah, we'll have to get together and give this game a shot one of these days. It's hard.
It is a lot of fun, man.
I get fleeting moments of time when I got like kids sleeping, but
well, we'll turn it into a play date for the kids too.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so there's the mechanic. Tap. So you either tap to play or draw a sight, or this turn, fire sights turn into fireballs. Fire sights in your hand. Let me see if I still have the fireball. If I gave that away to somebody, there should be a few in the deck, though, right? Like, it's an ordinary, isn't it?
No, I believe it's a exceptional.
Fireball. Okay. I'm sure I got one in the alpha
They
box.
definitely come. There's definitely a difference.
Yeah, they should be in there, but I did some like random giveaways to some people.
You gave away all the fireballs? Well, no, you can't play. Sorry, but
Yeah, I mean, I was giving stuff away from just the fire deck since people were saying that's the worst deck. So I was like, because I wanted to like, there's been such a long wait for the cards. I wanted to kind of send out a few. Here we go. Fire bolts.
No, I think that's great. So that card is great. Firebolts.
All right, this is a different card from Fireball.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Fireball's a good card. It's a little more expensive. Like Firebolts is a two mana, 1 threshold, and it does less damage, but it's still doing 3 damage. It's a projectile, but it can split its damage, which is great. And it's the kind of spell level where you can cast that and something else in the same turn, which can make a big difference, especially like in her case, because she's tapping, she's not playing a site, she's not drawing anything, she's just converting a site you already drew to spend as a resource. You still need the 4 mana on the table. It's awkward, is how I would describe it. Some people have tried to make it work. I don't know how successful they were, but
Gotcha.
and she may become more viable as time goes on if there's some sort of other card that comes out that helps her out.
Mm-hmm.
You never know.
So, like in the league, no one's playing with the pre-con decks in the league, right? Because Tabletop Simulator, you have what, like 360 cards or so available to you, so people are making custom decks.
Yeah, it was something like the set's 403, and there were like 35 unrevealed. People don't have on Curiosa.
Right. So people are playing custom decks in the league, right? There's no point in
yeah, it's all
pre-cons.
constructed. It's all constructed, but you do see the avatars sometimes.
Dude, I'm
like
going
they're not
through. I got the worst alpha box on the planet. Not that I'm complaining. I got a box, so I'm thrilled. But
you got Frazettas.
Like, I did get a couple Frazettas. I was talking to somebody
Speaking
about
of
that.
which, there you go.
Oh, sick! Wow, where'd you get that? So, have you had that for a while, or did you pick that up recently? Oh, cool.
I've had this for a while.
I saw that they're running a sale right now, actually, and they had the what are they? Actually, let me get it out. They had the one with the polar bears. That's on sale, or at least they were marketing that one.
Yeah, I had that.
That's one of the ones I pulled. Yeah, here's all my hits. Am I like under the camera?
Ruler of Thull.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's a cool card. I like that.
Boom, that was a nice hit. Yeah, it looked cool on the T-shirt. I was like, that's one I could rock.
I have it. It's an awesome T-shirt.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah,
and then this one.
Yeah, she's great. She's a wild card.
I got some great like unique hits, but I only got ordinary and exceptional foils. So I didn't get, and then you see like Open Boosters did an opening yesterday, and what they get, like, I think they got 2 unique foils, the Gilded Aegis and the, what was the other unique they got? The Sinkhole from Mikhail Nagypal. So
that's an elite.
Oh, it's an elite now. Okay, so maybe it was an
Yeah,
elite and a unique, and then they got
I know
Philo.
they got a foil Leviathan.
Ah, really? I must have missed
Yeah,
that. That's pretty sweet.
I only skim their video because you know that's all I could take.
Yeah, when people are just kind of scrolling through, it's not that exciting, really.
Yeah, no,
Um,
you listen. You set the standard. I need artists comment while there's cards being opened in the background. That's about the
yeah,
attention level that I can pay to people opening packs that I don't have and want badly.
yeah, I hear you, man. Yeah, it's tough. Like it does get a little boring to just see. I'm gonna go back to keyboard mode. We'll see. So we got Mike Pelly jumped in. Oh no, this is a guy busting my chops saying learning the game's important. Well, that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, well, make sure you get learned up.
Yeah, 2 stones, 1 Philo. That's right. He got 2 mix cards because I think he pulled. I was like, oh, okay, he got a mix, right? And I got he got the freaking like mixed Terra, and he's like, all right, he got one of those. I got 2, and then he pulled a second one. So he got 2 of the mix cards. Yeah, so I got the 2 mixed Terras. That's pretty nice pull.
Those are sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, Severin told me recently she doesn't like this artwork, which is kind of funny. Because, like, I remember, and this is the one I remember when she was originally selling her artwork. This was, like, crazy cheap. I want to say, like, $400 or something, like, absolutely absurd. And I was like, why?
She just
what are
wanted
you
it
doing?
out of her house. She's like, get it out.
She wanted to burn it. But she was
I think
just, she
it's
just said,
beautiful.
like, it wasn't up to her standard, like, of the normal work she does outside of Sorcery. So she just didn't think anything of it. You know, she's never done
Well,
a TCG before, so she had no idea the value.
Elvira's the alt sirens that she
Yes.
doesn't like.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I think it's an amazing painting.
Yeah, no, I agree. Is that in the? I think that's in the pledge packs, right? Not the box topper. I think
Oh,
I
is it?
sleeved.
I don't know. I don't
I
remember.
think I sleeved up the box topper cards. I guess I should leave
Okay.
that on full screen. Hang on, keep messing with the settings. Yeah.
I'm so glad it's
So
in the set because I think it's amazing. I love
yeah, I
that.
know. Yeah, I was talking to her the other day, and she referred to it as bad sirens.
Yeah.
So she doesn't. She just really dislikes that one. I think it's just a matter of she did it like very early on, and then she thought the quality of some of her other work was better, so she wanted to redo that one, and Eric agreed. But yeah, even he like really liked it. Obviously, he used it in the game. Yeah, they got this one.
You-
I don't. Didn't they get this one in foil too? Open boosters. I think they did.
They did, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good card.
that's a nice artwork. An elite monster of multifarious might, immune to non-lethal damage. Oh wow! So you can't even like kill this thing off unless you do at least 6 damage. Is that how that works?
That's exactly right. It's got to be 6, or it's got to have the lethal characteristic. Or, I mean, there are a lot of ways to kill it because things like bury, if it's off a water site, you can bury it. It doesn't have submerge, so you can drown it. But
Okay.
yeah, there's a limited number of spells that you can just wallop it for max damage, and you can't chip away with other minions either, right? Little by little, so you can't
Yeah.
get ganged up on. It'll survive.
Yeah. So like, if you in this game, if you damage a minion, like let's say you like just pop this thing for 3 damage because you're just
Yeah.
an idiot and you don't know, it's pointless. It heals before the next turn, right? It goes back
Yes.
to 6 health. Is that
Yeah.
How does that work? Dude, I haven't played Magic in like 25 years. How does that work in Magic and other games? Is that typical?
It's similar. Like in Magic, the damage remains until you then go to your opponent's. So you
Okay.
can do multiple little hits to accumulate enough damage to thing, but next turn it's a refresh. So it's not like permanent life on creatures that get
Okay.
chipped away. It would be interesting
that's-
if there was, but
Yeah, so that's like a typical thing in TCGs. Otherwise, you would need a counter, play with like a
It would
dice,
be-
right, to keep track.
yeah, it would be creatures would have to be fewer and far between, and also less killable. I think to make it more interesting to have them chip away at each other. I don't know. Just it's stuff like that doesn't usually work great.
Yeah. Sean Scully says his heart skips a beat every time I skip past blank. So this is kind of fun. Let's take a look at some of the cards and understand the mechanic and how this game works, and if which are the good cards, which are viable. So where was the blank? I had did I actually skip by blank? I did pull like at least I had it in the early development cards. I had a bunch of those. I don't know.
There's no way you didn't pull a blink in a box.
Yeah, maybe as I was going by the foil. One card I wanted to ask you about. Let's talk about Chaos Twister. That was another great hit. So, is this just like a cool, fun meme card that harkens back to Chaos Orb, or is it actually? Do you think this is like an actual viable card that people will play with?
So, when you add an element of dexterity skill, I think it automatically moves it down a category because a lot of people are probably unable to accurately blow a card off their hand repeatedly for effect.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's a very cool card, and the reward if you hit multiple things, like if you like because you pick up a creature and then you chuck it on their other creatures, and they all deal damage. It deals damage to itself and all of them, so you're getting at least the one. It's just look, it's a little bit of a meme card, but it's amazing. I was so happy when I read that. I love that because it's like one of those reminders. It's a reminder not to take the game too seriously, I think, which is important.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a fun game.
Fun first, right?
Yep. So here's the deal. We're going to test this out right now and check for viability. So, like, when you play, let's say you're playing with a playmat, you're probably going to be true to the... I don't know if I want to blow this card onto high-end cards. Let's get a couple... Let's get a couple commons. All right, so let's say, I mean, if you're playing with a playmat, you're probably going to be pure to the grid, right? And play within the grid lines. Yep. So they're pretty far spaced. Mm-hmm. But like if you play without a playmat, well, the problem is you're playing on TTS, so you don't even know yet, right? I wonder if if you were playing regular, would you actually have this kind of spacing, or do you think these people would play it tighter?
No, I think you're going to use the playmats. I think that's a good size because the one thing that gets a little messy is that when a lot of stuff is on a site and also above and below, it can get a little hard to read. So I think basically there's going to be some sort of common approach that people arrive at for dealing with space issues. But the mats look pretty good. Cards on the mats, it looks like there'll be enough to see that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're going to go smaller.
I'm going to blow the art card. So we got to be 1 foot above. You guys don't have perspective just from overhead cam. So that's the other funny thing. Like, are people going to call you out on trying to measure? All right, here we go. Hey, yeah. So I caught the corner of the card. It skipped across. I only got one minion. But I could see, like, how if you had these pretty well dispersed and you didn't have them, like, on neighboring sites, you could miss entirely.
You could, yeah. There's going to be one guy who does it like 10,000 times in his basement and just has it down.
The blow technique. That's hilarious.
Yeah, like Twister Todd or whatever his nickname will be, and he'll nail it every time.
Yeah, and you go with like different weighted sleeves. You know, you got to go consistent with the sleeves. This playmat's unbelievable. Did you order some of the playmats from Kickstarter?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I wish I ordered more, but it became. Yeah. I felt it was approaching irresponsible money spending. In retrospect, that didn't really work out. But yeah, I picked and chose, and I got the Mirror Realm one, which was like automatic because it's a 2-player, gorgeous, maybe the best art in the game. Certainly top 10 or top 5. Yeah. I got Edge of World, which is another favorite by Adam Burke.
Yep.
And I got Death's Door, which I thought was fantastic. Yeah. And I think that's it. And then what wound up happening is I took a couple of playmats out and I ordered more precon decks. Okay.
Yeah, I think the one regret I didn't get the Death's Door, so I regret that one. But Eric sent me this one from Screaming Skull, so I might try it because I think I bought one of these too. So I'll just try to trade with somebody.
Yeah, I love that one. That's very cool.
Yeah. Yep, it looks good. It's good for showing cards. Let's see. Looking at the comments here. Oh, we got Dan the Banana Man.
The no grid ones. It's like so they're just like art mats almost.
Yeah, so there were some like that in the Kickstarter. I didn't recall if there were some non-gridded.
I think I could be wrong. I think Edge of World and Death's Door were both non-gridded.
Okay. Yeah, I seem
because
to.
I figured I'm playing on the 2-player mat, and so the other ones will just be for prettiness.
Yep. Yeah, so I guess if you have so on the 2-player mat, 1, 2, 3, 4, you got the full 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 4 by 5, right? And then these ones are a 2 by 4. How's that going to work?
So
It's
you
only,
you
it's
and your
only 4
opponent
wide.
you and your opponent. Oh, it's a 2x4? No, it's not.
This one is, yeah.
2x5.
Oh no, you're right. Yeah, it is 5.
Yeah, yeah.
Can't count.
Um,
Yeah, so you'd have to.
okay.
So you'd be good. Yeah, you and your opponent each got to have one. Yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly.
But
Yeah, you roll up and
the funny
you
thing
just play across from
is
each other.
the way it's like spaced a little bit. It's yeah. Let me see if I could zoom so you can see what I got going on here. So you can't completely see it, but I have it like flush at the bottom, right? And then this is the single player against the 2-player. Let me move this box. So if you had 2 of these stacked, it goes significantly further than just using a 2-player mat. So you're going to be a little further away from your opponent, unless I guess you could save some piece on this aspect since that's not playable space. You know, if you go from here to like their 2 quadrants, you get about the same thing.
Yeah, I think you're just squares, and then all the peripheral stuff for placing your deck and tokens or whatever else you have, that you kind of disregard, and the core setup is about that grid. So
Right.
that's how you align everything. It should work fine. I'm not concerned about that. Like people are worried about space. It's like, yeah, sure, it's not. You may not be able to go elbow to elbow like some card stores do, but it just is what it is.
Yeah. So here's it's pretty big. It looks awesome on the desk. I just use it like
amazing.
as a playmat all the time.
Yeah, I was actually I was really happy when she said she kept that one because I like when artists like what they did, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just about to say that she hasn't sold it yet, but to my knowledge, she might not have sold any of hers because she was really just holding out and wanted to wait till after the game release, see how it did. You know, a lot of the Magic artists did that.
Old school. She knows what can happen.
Yeah. So Eric's Curiosa. Let's talk about this one.
Yeah.
So So do you remember what the mechanic was? I could actually. You know what? I think
you're talking about the previous iteration of that.
Yeah. If you don't remember, I got a copy of it from an early play.
It was you have to place it a certain distance away from every avatar, and the first one to grab it draws you 3 cards, something like that.
Okay.
So it was a card. It was like a card burst card, but it was placed in such a way where you would have to either have another card to get you there fast, or you'd be risking your opponent being able to grab it.
Oh, okay. So now, yeah, where did I'd have to look a bit to dig it up, or yeah, I don't think I'd have it on the website. Hang on a second. I got a huge stack here. Oh, wait. There we go. All right. Hang on a second. So there's the
There
blank.
you go. There's your blank.
So blank, yeah, this is kind of marked up. Move target friendly minion to a nearby site, draw a spell. That, these are like early versions, so...
Yeah, now it's...
There we go. Summon in a corner void. When a Curiosa is picked up for the first time by an avatar, that avatar's owner draws 3 spells. All right. Yeah, so you gotta race to it to be able to use the mechanic first.
And it was a corner void, so it would have to be where the sites weren't yet.
Yeah, that's very limiting, right? So...
Yeah, so there was a possibility late game that you would draw it and you wouldn't have a corner void to put it in.
Ah, wow. So now you got to rip Eric's Curiosa to pieces, draw a card from your entire collection.
I love this.
So you show up with the binder, and you just dig through. So it's like, actually, but in the game, there's no restriction. Well, there's balance. Like, you pick how many cards you want in your deck, right? There's minimum requirements.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you go larger size, more possibilities, but less, like more RNG on if you're going to get the pull.
Yeah,
in
40-20.
Need it. Yeah. So you want to kind of keep it streamlined and focused to the combos you're trying to pull or whatever your meta strategy is. So on this one, what are people saying from the player community about the viability of this, and if it's just a gentleman's agreement, you're not going to rip it up, or if you're in tournament play, you're going to roll the dice and put this in your deck and do what you got to do to take the crown.
I think it's divided into two camps: people who love to have fun, and then people who overthink things. That's how I would divide it.
Okay.
Because look, I think, and there is a valid argument that you're giving players something valuable, and then saying, "I dare you to rip it." And for some people, that's a little more viable than others, and it's kind of counter to the cherished collectible motif. You know, that we're all like, we're card collectors. We love to put them in binders, take good care of them, and this is saying, "You want the power? Rip me in half, and you'll get it." I love that. I think that's amazing. And I don't think most people are going to play with it because they don't want to rip their card in half. Some people have proposed in a tournament. And I just think you got to do what the card says, right? That's the point. That's what it was balanced for. Yeah. You can use it once and then you've ripped your card in half. So the other thing about tournaments is because you usually submit a deck list and it's a fixed format, once you rip that up, it's not in your deck anymore. So the next round, if you do it early, you put that card in your deck. So the way you would have to do it would be you'd have more than one, right? So then you can just replace it in your deck.
Yeah.
If you wanted to use it multiple times throughout the tournament, or you just wait till the last round and then you can use it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty wild. So do you think the effect is so? Maybe it's too early to know because the meta is still fleshing out. Obviously, only so many people are playing. But in your opinion, can you see that the card could be so compelling that people would be compelled enough to keep it in there for a tournament where they actually have to rip it up?
I was thinking about this, like what it would take to get me to rip it up, and something like last round of the Crown of the Victor tournament.
Yep.
Like if it was winning that painting, and I needed to use Curiosa to go grab a card that would win me the game or give me a good chance, that would probably be the threshold.
Gotcha.
Yep. Because I think that's a valuable collector piece in and of itself. It's just a cool card, and I kind of love it for that. So I think there would be people that don't care, or maybe just open so many boxes that they have extra copies and would do it for the power. But that's the trade, right? Like and it's not. A tutor is always amazing in these card games, and that one's particularly good because it can be whatever you need, but you still have to be able to play it. So it still has to be in accordance with whatever your deck construction already is. So, it's not as powerful as I would say Stone is.
Gotcha. Yeah, and also actually, what's this guy saying? Is that one of the mini cards, or do you just have massive hands? That's just the camera adds 50 pounds, man. You should see my face in real person. I'm all skin and bones. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's just because I think it's because I have the camera max zoomed. There's the hand now. Those are bodybuilder hands right there. Look at the calluses. I go hard.
Glorious.
But yeah, it's glorious.
Hand.
Yeah, that's hilarious though. So I think how does people talk about sideboarding, right? Could you have this card, like you just said, you got to pre-register what your deck list is. Could you have this as a card that you can insert just in the final round, or do you have to you got to use that deck throughout, right? Because otherwise it'd be a little unfair to change. I don't know. Can you change in the later rounds? How does that work?
There is no there's no formalized tournament thing other than Gen Con.
Yep.
So, in theory, there could be formats that would allow you to, anyone with a sideboard, you could put that in the sideboard. And then if you decided you wanted to insert it, like if it was a best of 3, you could put it in. It's good enough where, I don't know. It would really depend on how you feel about ripping up the card, right? Because you can put it in the sideboard and say, okay, if I really need to win the game, I'm going to throw this power card in, rotate it in, and then I'll have this just one extra tutor that can win me the game. Right.
Yeah.
Like if I'm losing, if I've already lost a round, because usually sideboard would be at least best of 3, because you would play one round and then you would start sideboarding.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I could see it done that way.
This guy says it's a curio card. So he was in the live stream yesterday, and I was just looking at random like early development playtest cards, and he's like, "That's a curio card." So I don't know if like people are going nuts about this curio card. Like I think everything's a curio. But
That
since
one
it
is
says, what caused the confusion is it says Eric's Curiosa, and then like Steven from Team Covenant was like opening his box, and he was like, "Is this Curiosa?" You know, and he was like, he found like
what a foil, right?
say, yeah, just some random foil, and he's like, "Look at this full art on the back." Like he was surprised there was full art, and he's like, "Is that a Curiosa?"
Yeah.
So he's calling it a Curiosa, but it's called a curio, obviously, as we know. And that I don't know because like I was listening to a like a YouTube strategy video on when I was mowing the other day, and they were talking about like these strategies and gimmicks people do to get people to comment on their videos. And one of the classic things is to like bastardize something like that, call it a Curiosa instead of a curio, or like Rudy does, he'll have a sorcery box. He did this other video where he had like a sorcery play match just casually at the end of his video, and then people go nuts and drop a bunch of comments saying like, "Did you see that? Did you see that?"
Yeah. And the title will be something like, "Did I open a curio?"
Not even that. It's like subtle, just something that's like planted there. Like if I had like another unsealed box, people would lose their mind and be pissed off that I got 2 boxes and everyone would be talking about it, right? So I don't know. I would think Team Covenant knows what they're talking about, but it was kind of funny. Now everyone's calling these Curiosas is the moral of the story.
Well, I think he was having some fun too, and I think they seem to really want to experience everything organically. So I don't think they're digging too deep. And just kind of letting the game on them as they get more cards, and I think that's a great approach to take. Considering their brand is and what they've done for dead CCGs and games that they've exposed, like they just play it fresh in front of people and learn, and are like willing to make mistakes, which I think is important for people to see, rather than like a polished, we already know what we're doing kind of thing.
Yep. Yeah, and they're much heavier on the gameplay spectrum of things than Collector. They're a business, but they're more players as well. So this one was pretty cool. Like this Sorcerer, this is in the box topper, and then it's also in the you could just pull it, right? So I pulled like a regular version of it, non-foil, but the foil version, this is something I forgot until I saw it. It's got that. Can you see? It's got that alpha logo, and it's pretty cool because that's one of the foiling accents. Like the box, I think the box, it's not totally neutral, the box, but it's enough that it's kind of like subtle. But like when you see it in person, you can make it out fairly clearly. You almost miss it the first time. But
one,
which one? The box topper.
Yeah, gotcha.
In foil, yeah. So like in the non-foil, there's no alpha symbol at all.
Gotcha.
Which I thought was interesting. I didn't realize that going into it. So is this like this one is tap, play to draw a site, or tap to draw a spell? All right, so that's like a typical mechanic where you just draw from either deck.
Yeah, but most things aren't able to draw an extra, because at the start of turn you pick site or spell, so that's your card for the turn. This guy can let you draw an extra card. Most can just let you draw a site. He lets you draw an extra spell if you want, which is a big deal.
So you could draw 2 cards, one from each, a spell and a site?
Yes, in the same turn. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess I assumed this was an either or condition. But
most importantly, you can almost always draw one of each, because at the start of turn you would draw a spell, and then your avatar would tap to draw a site, which most of them let you do. But in his case, you can draw a spell at the start of turn, and he can tap to draw you another spell, which is very good. Like late game, after your mana base is out, you don't need sites as much.
Yeah.
So, and if you're looking for an answer at the store, he gives you 2 shots. Quite a common one, so it's good to have a powerful baseline.
Nice.
And he'll be very good. He'll be very good for draft too, because that'll be your default avatar.
Okay, cool. Let's go through the foils, and we'll talk about each card and their viability. You got a little time? Still sober?
Oh yeah. Hey, until well, I don't think I'll be sobered up until tomorrow, because I did a lot of damage, and you know what turning 40 is like.
Yeah, man.
The recovery time, the window is much more extended.
Yeah, you just blew your whole weekend.
Yeah. 100%.
All right, so the Autumn Unicorn, it's no special mechanic. It's just pure flavor text. So 3. So tell me about like the casting cost and the threshold. How much does threshold really matter?
It matters. It matters a lot because that's the point beyond which you can cast a spell. So if you're playing a multicolor or multi-element deck, that unicorn being 2 threshold can be a little bit of a hurdle. Especially now, if you're playing 3 elements, it becomes a lot harder to cast 2 element or 3 element spells.
But people playing 3 element? That's wild. I haven't even heard that.
Sure, yeah. Like Death Speaker's almost always 3 element.
Okay.
One of the things they did that was really great was they made all the dual lands exceptional. So you can, if you're playing 3 elements, 9 of your sites will be dual. So and they included 2 4 mana sites, the Paradise and plus all the cores give you a mana and threshold. So there's lots of ways to make multi-element decks viable. So it's not that big a deal. Like you can, it's just sometimes you run into it where like threshold can mean everything, right? But that is the great part.
Cool. Just because because the power level. What do they call? Is this toughness or power level? What do they call it?
It's your power, but it's
power?
It's basically the same.
Yeah, I just did. I didn't know what the proper term was.
Yeah, well, now that you mentioned it, I don't know if it's the proper term either.
Yeah, I didn't read the rule book. I've watched some games, but all right. I got 15 minutes until 5, so let's go to Undertow. Kyle Calazans. Now he's got mostly exceptional, so I didn't pull a lot of his cards. I think his only ordinary is the Rail Dromedary, and then he has like maybe 1 or 2 uniques. I think Standing Stones is either it might be an elite. I'm not sure how that landed. But anyway, Undertow. So it says Genesis, staying within this body of water, move target unit 1 step.
So one of the things about water is a lot of water wants to be connected to other water.
Yeah.
So a lot of the mechanics are dependent on that somewhat, like having connecting water sites. That can be ability because it can be broken up. It can also make how you play the sites out awkward, especially if you want to go multi-element, because now you're playing sites that aren't necessarily water sites, and where you put them can make a big difference. So in mono water, the ability to move something is always good. So that's like can be pretty clutch. It's not like upper tier power, but it's good.
Okay.
You can do things with it sometimes.
That was going to be one of my questions. What constitutes a body of water? So if you have 2 Atlas sites that are water sites, that's one body of water.
That are adjacent. Yeah, adjacent. Like if there are 5 sites that are all connected to other water sites via adjacency, not corner to corner, that would be one body of water.
Okay. Yeah, one thing I'm noticing now, looking closer at the art, is he has like this school of fish. There's a shark up here, and then there's a few sharks here. So I wonder, I'll have to ask Kaio about that, like if that was by design part of the flavor of this one, because since you're moving something 1 unit 1 step closer, like you could be moving it closer to danger. I don't know. Or it could just be a random coincidence. I don't know. All right. Let's see.
You cut out for me there for a second.
Oh, did I? Am I still there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go to...
I don't know if you were asking anything about water, and I'm just staring at you blankly.
Okay. No, I was talking about the sharks. Like if there's significance to the sharks being close to the school of fish, and then the fact that you move 1 step closer if you're moving something closer to danger, or if you're controlling that, you could be moving closer to a battle engagement, right? Something you're trying to strike.
Well, yeah, you can suck things in, and then so sharks actually are relevant because the giant shark will go attack anything that enters or moves in the body of water.
Oh,
so you can have a giant shark play that site and then drag it over and trigger your shark, and your shark will go take a bite out of it. So it's got power.
Man, the flavor and storytelling in this game is no joke. It doesn't come across. Really good. Discussions like this are important because I never hear anybody talking about that. Like, I'd love someone to do. I think there's like a huge opportunity for content creators and on the player side to talk about like game mechanics, synergies. Really spotlight the flavor. And I was hoping. I mentioned that to Eric one time. I was like, it's all, the art sells itself. It's amazing, and there's advocates like myself for the art. There's not a lot of people. There's some people doing like power level of cards, top tens, that type of thing, but it's like the combos and the flavor of the card engagements that's really special and cool.
So one of the things is that I feel like players are playing the game, so they're either doing an intro or they're doing gameplay videos. So it's not it's almost never presented as a story.
Yeah.
I don't mean like a fairy tale. I just mean you create moments in a game, and games are about these moments, these memorable moments, combos, the things you can do. And one of Sorcery's strengths is that because it's a grid system, there's a lot of puzzling out how things will interact and you maneuver things. And often, like, you have to get really creative because there's something either in the way of you doing what you want, or be 2 steps away because it's at a diagonal. So you need the right spell, or you need to move one thing before you can do the next thing. And you don't get that from Magic at all. Like, you do get the ordering effects, but it's a much more straightforward thing. So superficially, this game looks a bit like Magic, but gameplay wise, it is a completely different experience. And I still play Magic, so I'm not knocking that.
Yeah, no, it's just different. Yeah, so Jeff Menges popped in. He gave us some artist perspective. He says, I doubt that. We didn't get that kind of detail on card mechanics in the art direction. So it's kind of interesting. Like, I think it's did vary a little bit from some of the artists. So we had, I think it was the interview so Sophie and Jens interviewed Eric. It came out a few weeks ago, and he was saying, like, someone asked that question, is it like about the top down design approach? And he said it wasn't always purely top down. Like, sometimes he'd start with the title and then the artist would like give him an illustration, but then, like, based on the illustration he got back, sometimes he would adjust the card mechanic to more closely like pair, and then you get this amazing like flavor pairing between card title, oftentimes the type line text, and the actual mechanic itself, which is pretty awesome too. Like, is that typical in Magic? I don't recall that being like, because they didn't have like the type line text was more simple, right? It was more of like the type of card it was.
Summon whatever.
Yeah, right. So that's like a next level type innovation, I think, that Sorcery's doing. That's really awesome.
Oh, the type line thing is genius. There's a lot that's genius on the card layout and the way they've approached everything. That particular card really was a little bugbear for me, because they had this. First of all, it's one of, I think, Alan's best pieces, the werewolf, especially in foil. That looks amazing. But it was a 3-mana power 3, no flavor text card, and it's like, that's what you're gonna do with your debut werewolf. It doesn't do anything. I remember
people going nuts in the Discord. Crazy. They're like, put a mechanic on that thing. That artwork deserves like some kind of powerful werewolf mechanic.
Yeah, I was repeating myself. I was like, if you have Arthurian Legends coming out, if I can't turn Guinevere into a werewolf, something's wrong with this game.
So sacrifice an allied mortal, summon Moonclan Werewolf from your hand to the mortal's location.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you sacrifice him. Oh, you sacrifice your own guy to summon the werewolf, so you just get to bypass the casting cost?
Yeah, you convert the creature into a werewolf.
Wow. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, it's cool. It's very flavorful. Monster. I'm not sure, if it's great, but...
Yeah, and there you go. Like with the type line text example, it says an exceptional monster terminally transformed, because you're making a sacrifice, so it's terminal. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Since we got Jeff on, let's look at one of his cards. I was lucky to get this. Looked amazing in foil, and the Sunken Treasure. Because these cards that have blue, actually, you know what? I pulled 2 Jeff Menges foil cards, because I remember like this one was probably, I thought, was my best pull in terms of like quality of foiling, because the I don't know, there's something about like the blue foiling that really pops. This one really kind of stood out, and it has like that old school vintage early 90s type vibe to it.
Yeah, and he masked the skeleton, so it really pops out of the foil.
Right. Yeah, because you see, like, when you tilt it, it completely changed the dynamic with that blue popping like that. Yeah. Although this one is gorgeous too, like the underwater vibe.
This is actually a cool way to look is it's about a 1/4 inch on my phone, so
Oh.
I'm able to really just get a sense of what the card, the impression is versus the details.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about these two before I got to bounce here. Exceptional relics lost at sea. If cast, conjure this under an allied water site of an opponent's choice. When sunken treasure is carried to the surface, its controller sacrifices it and draws 2 cards.
Yeah. So those cards there's buried treasure and sunken treasure, and obviously card draw is good, but it makes you jump through hoops a little bit because it's got to be underwater, and you have to have something underwater to go carry it up. So I know some people were using sunken treasure because water doesn't have the card draw that air has. I just think when you have to put multiple resources into getting, because that is a card itself that you have to draw and play, and then you're getting 2, I believe it's 2 cards, right?
Yeah, but it also says you got to conjure this under an allied water site of an opponent's choice, so you lose a lot of control there, right?
You lose control, yeah, and then you have to have a creature to go fetch it. So yeah, it's pretty though.
Yeah, definitely amazing artwork. Oh, we lost him. Maybe you lost connection. Let me show the bone rabble. Since Jeff was talking about that, it looks great the way the lead skeleton is in front of the foil. Yeah, that's true. So the lead skeleton.
So what I was
we
saying
got you
is
back.
You always you always have some cards that suck in a 400 card set, right? Or aren't like top tier viable. But once you have a draft format, you're gonna have a second life for all the cards, because something that might not be made constructed might be the best card for your deck when you're pulling them at random, you know?
Yeah, Jeff's got that good artist eye, man. I don't know how you picked that up on camera, but he's absolutely right. This skeleton has no foil. So the lead skeleton in the front has no foiling effect on itself at all. So he's done really well. And also the owl. Is the owl? Not really. So he's done like really well. Wait, I'm trying to see if there's like a glimmer in the owl's eye, because it's small. It's really subtle. But it really creates like some depth, 3D depth and dimension with these foils. It's not just like flashing for the sake of having some flash in the game, right? It's done with purpose, and it makes
that's what I was saying. The masking makes it pop, right? I can tell from this tiny size. I can just see the skeleton so clearly with the foil backgrounds. It looks really cool.
Yeah, it makes it look almost 3D. It's incredible.
Show the full art side.
Good call.
Yeah, so good. I love that everybody gets a little painting with their foils.
Yeah, I know, it's incredible. You think people will? So from the gamer perspective, do you think people will play with the full art?
Full art, probably most won't. I think so. Well, like there's going to be iconic cards like the cores. I would play with full art, no problem.
Right.
So yeah, it depends on the card. The card with a lot of don't want to, unless you have a copy handy. Some people look that many boxes. You know, some people are going to be able to do it.
Right. Yeah, and if you get, like, I imagine if it's a simple, straightforward mechanic that everybody knows, then why not? You know exactly what the card does. Not a big deal.
But, yeah, a core is a core.
Yeah, and like so are a lot of the sites, like the effects of the sites, fairly basic and memorable, or are those you think you really got to read to recall what they are? That's what I was wondering. Like, if you played the sites in full art, that would be pretty fun, and then just play the minions and spells differently.
Well, everybody's going to know the common sites by heart.
Sure.
So that's first of all. The duels are all straightforward also, and those are going to be your most used sites. So already memorized by everybody. And then a lot of the best sites are absolutely iconic, and you're going right now it's like the least amount of people are familiar with the game other than before anybody could play it at all. So as time goes on, things kind of become embedded in the psyche of the players.
Sure. Yep. Yeah, early on, you'll have to play with the face side. I'm wondering downstream. So I think, if I remember correctly, besides, there's some cards in the box topper that are in foil, but I think this was the first actual foil that I opened in my box. It's really awesome.
a good
So the
one.
windmill. So this is like a dual land, as you say, because it gives what is that air and earth?
Yeah, which is
Yeah, which makes
one
sense
of
for a
the
windmill.
top decks.
Right.
Yeah, Air Earth is very popular.
So that's the effect. It gives like dual resource. It doesn't have another
Threshold,
effect. It's just flavor
dual
text. It
threshold.
says,
So
oh, threshold.
you get one mana that counts as both flavors.
Oh, okay. That's how that works. Interesting.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
mean,
just about it's
the
about
mana,
versatility. It doesn't accelerate.
you just need to, threshold is like a checkbox, right? Like, do I have
Yeah.
it? You look at the board, you have it. Now, mana cost is like a pool of resources that you get at the start. So
Yep.
then you can expand.
Yeah. No, that's an interesting nuance though, because I didn't realize these duels just give one mana. It's more about the versatility. If you're using a 2-color deck or
Exactly.
3-color, then that's pretty important. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool, man. All right, well the baby woke up, so I'm getting the hook. But this was pretty interesting. We'll have to I'll have to get you back on again and talk through like the cards. I love hearing about the game mechanics, and I think that's important because then people understand like why the gameplay itself is awesome, and it makes it more fun to collect too. You know, if the card tells a story, it makes the art more interesting, and just collecting in the binder. Even if you don't play the game, I find that fascinating. I haven't even played the game yet, but it just excites me more about it. You know.
The game, you get so many rewarding fun moments, and there's so much space for clever play. And honestly, many of the games I've lost, I've had a great time just seeing how it's played out. The game results in people getting it both on death's door often enough where that's
really?
super exciting.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a great game. It's really fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, I want to talk more about like pros and cons, what you like about the gameplay compared to other games you've tried. When I could get you back. So I've been doing these like impromptus, like mid-afternoon when the baby falls asleep. So I'll hit you up next time that happens.
Yeah.
Or play it by ear. I get on who I can. Sometimes like an artist will pop in or whatever. But yeah, it's fun. Appreciate it, dude.
You know, what would be cool is if I bet the artists would have some questions about like their card game itself. So I would always be down for that too.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely let you know next time I have someone on. But appreciate you popping in unnoticed. Take care, man.
Pleasure. Thanks.
Sober up. Enjoy your birthday. It's downhill fast after 40.
I know. I'm already sliding.
Yeah. All right. Take care, buddy. See you, everybody.
Take it easy.
Have a good
Bye,
one.
everyone.
Happy Memorial Day.